Cinematic universes are becoming part and parcel of our movie experience. Watching a smorgasbord of superheroes arrive in Infinity War has got plenty of people grabbing for the Marvel effect, but not everybody has a Hulk. There's masses of movies that have fallen flat on their face in pursuit of a 19 and counting film run and $4 billion franchise. With opening movies drier than my chat-up lines, are you my appendix? 'Cause I want to take you out.
That was awful.
Oh yeah, Jules is here. Speaking of sad failures, I have Jules with me today to talk about all things cinematically floppy.
I'm still getting over that. That was terrible. Hey guys, what's up? Want to talk about franchises? Here's one right here.
With that in mind, I'm Ash.
And I'm Jules.
And here are 5 cinematic universes that failed miserably.
Number 5, 21 Jump Street. Unlike most entries on this list, this was actually a pretty good idea, as it sought not only to tie the two funny men together, but with the men in f***ing black! This could have only brought about good things, surely, and would have likely been one of the most self-aware crossovers going. Yet, as time has gone on, it seems less and less likely. Spielberg is one of the key principal holders of the Men in Black franchise, and he's pretty reluctant to let it go, and Jonah Hill has said that he's doubtful that he'll ever return to do any more 21 Jump Street movies. It's a shame, though, as the equation of dopey cops, secret government organisation and aliens actually does make a lot of good sense. Just sad, that one.
Number 4, The Dark Tower. Stephen King's Homer Simpson-sized stranglehold on the horror industry has proved inspiration for many. With it smashing box office records last year and The Shining proving a veritable cinematic masterpiece, King really is the king when it comes to making cinema history. So, you'd have thought it made sense to turn his longest running series into a sprawling movie world then. Yes, that would have made perfect sense. But of course it isn't what happened. Instead, they made some weird quasi-sequel that begged, borrowed and stole from its source material, then bastardised it into something unappealing to both fans and newcomers alike. Good going, Sony, you dorks.
Number 3, King Arthur. Now, Guy Ritchie's King Arthur Legend of the Sword had a ton of spin-offs, sequels and other promotional stuff linked to it before the film was actually released, which sounds great on paper, but when you think about it, it's actually kind of like buying a mansion to celebrate your wedding anniversary, but remembering that your wife's been dead for 7 years and buried in the Tyne. It doomed itself by not staying in the present, and Joby Harold is one to try and push multiple universes, because he had the King Arthur one that he tried to get off the ground, and the Robin Hood one. Please stop this man from creating universes. He is not Vishnu. Or God. In his mind, he wanted to get the gang together, you know, Lancelot, Merlin, King Arthur, all just going out on pally adventures, but the creative team finally came to their senses and realised that maybe these medieval monsters and masters of the sword didn't have as much clout with the mainstream audience as they would have liked to have believed.
Number 2, The Dark Universe. Universal's idea of resurrecting old movie monsters and wrapping them in shiny new paper was an ambitious one. Somewhere between League of Gentlemen and Van Helsing, it starred Russell Crowe as the head of a mysterious corporation that captured supernatural threats. With Tom Cruise's The Mummy first in line for the treatment, it failed and took the whole franchise with it. Oops. Names such as Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man and Javier Bardem as Frankenstein's monster made the rounds 2 weeks before release, but have mysteriously disappeared off the roster. Universal halted production on Bride of Frankenstein, starring Angelina Jolie no less, and directors have pulled out of each of their respective movies in the franchise. Pulling the plug on the Monsterverse, it's fair to say that the Dark Universe has gotten much darker. Get it? Get it?
Boo!
Oh, I'll go then.
And number 1, The Amazing Spider-Verse. Spider-Man certainly has gone through the ringer when it comes to cinematic universes. We've had Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield and now Tom Holland all take up the mantle of the webbed warrior. And unfortunately, none of them link together. Yes, they've all told the tale of a boy pumped full of toxic by a widow, which if you reverse the roles is my relationship with your mother, there's my one per list. And the state of the Spider-Man universe has been kept in a constant state of flux thanks to Sony's inconsistent use of the licensing rights. And the weird thing is that Sony's Spider-Verse is still technically going, because Venom is going to slot into that universe even though it's kind of not slotting into the rest of it. They've said in that Venom exists in the same universe as Peter Parker, but that Peter Parker isn't going to show up in the film or any other films in the foreseeable future. And this is all thanks to the fact that Tom Holland and the mighty clout of the MCU have established that pretty much whenever you think of Spider-Man, you're going to think of him. Anyway, the Sony Spider-Verse is still technically going, but it's an absolute mess from start to finish. Almost like a web. It's a web! Ash, it's a web!
It's a web!
It's like a web! It's actually pretty decent now.
And those were 5 cinematic universes that failed miserably.
Thank you very much for watching us, and if you like what we do, you can check out more videos here on What Culture, or you can swing over to That Film Theory, where Ash and I do lots of sort of mental musings on cinematic moments, so that's always quite nice as well.